Hi YouTube, welcome to my video on Venus in Partner's 12th house. Before I get started, I want to talk about how you can send a request for me to film a video. I just finished filming my first requested video, which was Mars in Partner's 8th house, and I did mention the person that sent me the request in my description bar, so if you want to go check out that video. Anyways, if you want to send me a request, it's easier to contact me through social media, which is my Instagram or my Twitter, because sometimes on YouTube, if you guys leave comments, they can get lost, because I have a lot more activity on YouTube than I do on my personal Instagram and Twitter, so comments can get jumbled up. A lot of comments come in at one time, and sometimes I have to review the comments before they can actually, before I can actually see them, so I have to click on the side that's might be spam, and a lot of comments turn up there that aren't spam, so I won't be able to see those. So just contact me on social media if you have a request video. I'll usually do videos that a lot of people would like, so if it's some minor aspect, it's probably not going to get done. Just something that I haven't done that you think a lot of people should see, and I will always mention that you requested it to me, so I'll give you guys credit, of course. Anyway, so Venus in Partner's 12th house. Now, this is a synastry overlay. Now, when your Venus falls into your partner's 12th house, Venus is the sign of love. It's the planet of love in a person's birth chart. It's their love nature. It's the planet of beauty and inspiration and love and money and lust and attraction and flirtatious, and it's all about charm and grace and all of those things and the refined qualities of yourself and yada yada yada. And then the 12th house is the house traditionally ruled by Pisces, and this, in someone's birth chart, the 12th house is almost like the subconscious, the unconscious, the part of us that we don't necessarily understand. Now, it's also who you are when you're drunk or high, by the way. Well, not necessarily high, but who you are when you're drunk. If they're a completely different person, that's a way that I always can figure out someone's ascendant, by the way, when they act when they're intoxicated. Just a heads up. Anyways, but the 12th house is very secretive. It's a house about the unconscious, the intuition, spirits, other realms, other dimensions. It's about secret knowledge, hidden knowledge that's not necessarily hidden, you just have to kind of unlock it in a sense. So it's very murky waters in a sense. So when someone's planet falls in here, especially their Venus, automatically the house person is going to be confused, straight up confused about the feelings that they have towards the Venus person, and they are going to question if the Venus person has feelings, and they're going to have a lot of doubts about this Venus person. And that's what causes this relationship to be kind of secretive, and nobody really knows about it. They're able to keep their relationship to themselves. They kind of are more comfortable with each other than they are with each other in public, if that makes sense. Because there's going to be a very spiritual, psychic connection that these two have with each other that's really inexplicable. This is a theme. It's just this relationship is very inexplicable. The feelings are very inexplicable. There's no logic. Just take that into consideration. There's no logic whatsoever. And the house person, you're going to find that the house person keeps a lot of their feelings about the Venus person towards themselves. They internalize a lot of how they feel to themselves, and this will confuse the Venus person, because the Venus person is going to feel as if the house person doesn't really want them and doesn't really want to be around them, or doesn't want to be seen in public with them. They're going to feel more like shut out, almost like if they're being played or whatever. So just keep in mind, Venus person, that is not the case. The house person here is just someone that you're igniting. The Venus person is igniting the subconscious of the person, the 12th house person. And when your subconscious is lit like that, when it's lit by someone's planets, it's very confused. It's murky waters. It's not seen very clearly because Neptune rules this house. There's almost like an elusive fog here. And you'll find that the house person is going to fall in love with the Venus person, not necessarily fall in love, but have a crush on the Venus person based on like their personality, their beliefs, like who they are. It's not necessarily so much of their appearance. In fact, the house person might put this person on a pedestal because this house is ruled by Pisces. So Pisces is known to put the person that they care about and they love on a pedestal, because Neptune here will put these rose-colored glasses on you and you won't see the stuff about them that's bad or what's negative. And the house person will probably love the false appearance or this identity that the Venus person is able to mask when they first meet. That first meeting that they have with each other is very, very crucial to how the house person is going to view the Venus person, because that is going to be the theme. The house person is going to be infatuated with the person that they first met. It may not be for all cases, but that's just usually a theme. Now, the Venus person here is probably, it doesn't matter if they're secure or insecure with themselves. You're going to find that when this Venus person drops into the 12th house, there's going to be emotional vulnerability stemming from the Venus person. The Venus person is going to be very emotionally vulnerable, and they're going to be very open about not necessarily their feelings about the house person, but their feelings about who they are as a person, what they believe, what they think, what they dreamt about, things like that. They're going to find that it's very easy to talk about these psychological traumas and their dreams and things that they kept to themselves with the house person. Because here you're going to find two people that when they're alone, they're very open with each other, and they can almost talk about anything with each other except the feelings that they have for each other. That's not going to happen because there's a very flighty feeling. But moving on. The house person, because they put this Venus person on a pedestal, they're going to have daydreams about the Venus person. They're going to idolize the Venus person. They're going to crave the Venus person all the time, but they might not say it because the house person is very ignited by these romantic feelings. They've never felt these romantic feelings for anybody else. So the Venus person is igniting these romantic feelings that the house person has never felt. Therefore, that house person is going to be confused and want to run away from the relationship. It's not necessarily so karmic. I would say that this leans more towards the soulmate twin flame kind of thing. If the signs that they are in are compatible, you have to take in who you guys are as a person before you can account before you can account compatibility. Because if you guys don't have the same interests, if you guys aren't near the same person, like not near the same person, but like close to each other's personalities, then compatibility doesn't work. These aspects work and they amplify when you guys have a foundation that's already kind of set with similar interests and similar ideas and hobbies and things like that. You know what I mean? So you have to have the basic compatibility first before you can take into account any other compatibility. So this could be karmic and this could be more of a soulmate thing, because there's almost psychic intuitiveness. You guys can sense what each other is feeling naturally. The Venus person is going to have more certainty about what the house person's feeling. They're going to be able to unlock or just already subconsciously know bad habits that the house person has. They're going to pick up on the behaviors of the house person, and whether they are aware of it or not, it's more of a psychological thing. Whereas the Venus person is going to be able to have all of these insights into like these unconscious thoughts and actions of the house person, and they actually have the ability to manipulate the house person and use their bad habits and thoughts and stuff against them, and that gives the Venus person a leg up. But this relationship needs a lot of maturity. because here you're going to find that it can be very, very spiritually awakening, and you guys can grow and learn from each other. And all of that will take time. This is a relationship that takes a lot of time to build trust and understanding, because communication isn't really going to be established. Like, communication about each other's feelings isn't going to be established until one person starts to say like, this is how I feel about you, like this and that, and then you guys can make your decisions about whether you want a relationship or not. But that takes maturity. When there's immaturity in here and the Venus person doesn't necessarily like the house person, the Venus person will take advantage of the house person. You're gonna find here, if I know you guys all know this dynamic where the guy is either like sleeping with the girl and dating the girl, and the girl's like, oh, we're together, we're all of this, yada yada yada, we love each other, but like really he's just playing her, and like he'll never date her or stuff like that, and he's just using her, but he's able to manipulate her into thinking that they are, or like just be able to lead her on. It can be vice versa. The female can play the guy too, but I'm just saying, like, that's the theme of this relationship, that those hidden relationships and those hidden sparks. And a lot of this has to do with the Venus person and how mature they are to handle with that, the 12th house person's rawness, because you have to be careful. Like, you're stepping into someone's unconscious, you're stepping into like things that they haven't understood yet, things that you won't understand about them until like you get to know them better. So be careful, because you can actually leave a lot of psychological trauma in the 12th house person if you're not aware of it. And the house person has to find a sense of self and a sense of security before you interact with the Venus person, because if not, you're just going to be very delusional, and you're going to just be very confused onto where you stand with this Venus person. The Venus person may be confused too, but it's usually the house person, because the Venus person is the one that's usually igniting the feelings of romance. Now, also the Venus person here is going to ignite a lot of feelings of beauty and art into the house person. The house person is going to subconsciously start taking care of themselves. They're going to start putting makeup on and shaving and brushing their hair, and they might adapt themselves into someone that the Venus person may like, because Venus here is igniting beauty and beauty in yourself, and they're going to ignite a difference in how you see beauty. They might be someone that's very artistic, and when that happens, you're going to start to like art as well. So you're going to see that the Venus person has a huge influence on how the house person views their beauty and how they view the beauty of the world and of art around them. Venus here may have a huge secret crush on the house person, but the house person is like so oblivious to how this person feels, because Venus is very good at keeping this front. You know what I mean? Just the house person is just straight up confused. They're not trying to put up a front. They're just confused. So the Venus person may be the one that puts up the front, especially if there's someone that's not very emotionally open, because the house person is going to make this person very open. So if the Venus person isn't necessarily always open, and then the house person makes them open, that's going to cause the Venus person to put on a little bit more of a shell, because it's having someone bring out these this flow of emotion. So that's why the Venus person can put on a shell. Now, this is what happens when they put on that shell. The house person is going to not run, but kind of disassociate themselves from the relationship a little bit. Because if Venus isn't so straightforward, the house person is the one that's reacting here. Venus is the active planet. The house is the receptive. The house is the receptive aspect of this placement. So you're going to see that if the Venus person wants to spend time with the house person is going to go along with it, and they're going to want to hang out with them. And if the Venus person's like, let's do this, let's hang out, let's talk about this, let's do this, and they're going to create that bond, because the Venus person is like kind of dragging and pulling in the house person. You know what I mean? Not forcefully. It's something that's very fluid. But as soon as the Venus person kind of stops and may retract a little bit, or just push the brakes on because they might not get anywhere far with the house person, because they may like the house person, but they might not get very far with the house person because the house person is confused. So when the Venus person starts to retract, so will the house person. You're going to see a lot of mimicking of behavior here, and it all kind of stems from the Venus person a lot, because the Venus person usually does have a secret crush on the house person, but the house person is just too oblivious to realize it. I don't know why. It's just a natural thing that happens with this one. So house is always going to be allured by Venus. Venus is going to ignite feelings of beauty, of the mystical, of the secretive, of the unknown. It's going to ignite feelings into the house person. The house person is going to be confused, always going to be trying to figure out what the Venus person's feeling. The Venus person is probably going to like retract and ignite whenever they want to, and then the house person is the receptive one, so they kind of follow along. This is a theme of secretiveness in a relationship. It's a very private relationship. They're more open when they're by themselves, and they're more comfortable when they're by themselves with each other. There's a deep spiritual connection, almost telepathic, but this also can be unrequited love. And why this can be unrequited love is because you guys can be playing this mouse game, the cat and mouse game, not necessarily so abrasive, but just because there's so much confusion surrounding where you guys stand with each other, there can never actually be, sometimes there may never be like a union. It can be so flighty sometimes. So it comes to a point where you guys are just going to have to be straight up with each other, even if it's scary, because both of you guys are going to ignite feelings that are a little bit unknown. And yeah, you guys may be complete opposites as well. You'll find that they're going to be like very different, but you'll find that you guys are both very accepting of each other. Very mystical, emotional insecurity because of all the running and chasing and all that. But this can also be very good for psychic healing and bonding. You'll find that these two can heal each other in ways. They can both have past traumas, and together, like, because they're able to talk about it and be open, they're able to heal each other in ways that they've never been healed. So that's the positive. It's always important to look at the positives and always try to fix what may not be good. You know what I mean? So I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys have any requests, let me know. Send me a DM on Instagram or Twitter. The last thing I want to say about this aspect is that there can be a little bit of uncertainty stemming from the house person regarding how long the relationship will last. They can be very confused if the relationship is going to last, if it's going to stem into something else, causing them to run and fight. So Venus, if you're Venus, you might want to be the person that has that conversation and ignites it. And if you're the house person, you don't want to doubt what the Venus person feels, because the house person could be a little bit doubtful and insecure if, like, they might think that the Venus person is lying about how they're feeling. Don't do that, house person. Just be open. A lot of the times, house person, when you feel something, when you get that gut feeling about how this person feels about you, you have to follow it. Don't be like, oh, I think they like me, but I'm not 100% sure, so I'm gonna run. No. If they love you, like, you'll feel it, you'll know, your intuition will tell you. Listen to it, okay? And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you guys think. Sorry if I rambled for too much, but it's done now. Bye.